I've always felt like something was missing. Not in a dramatic, tragic kind of way, more like a soft tug at the edge of my life. A quiet whisper I couldn't quite hear. As a child, I used to imagine I had a twin, not a fairy tale doppelganger, or some long-lost princess sister, just someone, a presence, a shadow that should have been beside me. My name is Lena Hartman, and until a few months ago, I thought I was an only child. I was raised by my adoptive parents, Richard and Ellen Hartman, in a cozy suburb outside of Chicago. They were warm, loving, stable. We had pancake Sundays, Christmas tree traditions, and road trips to the lakes every summer. I never questioned the way things were. I had everything except that echo, that tug, that sense that somewhere, someone was missing. It wasn't until I turned 28 that I decided to try one of those online DNA kits. It started as a casual idea, half joke, half curiosity. I spit in the little tube, mailed it off, and forgot about it. 3 weeks later, my world split in two. I was sitting at my desk at work, halfway through a budget spreadsheet, when I got the notification, "Your DNA results are in." I clicked, scanned, ethnicity breakdown, health markers, the usual stuff. But then close relatives, match, 99.98% shared DNA. Possible identical twin. I stared at the screen. My heartbeat thudded in my ears. I refreshed a page twice. The name beside the match was Maya Blake, age 28, living in New York. Identical twin. I couldn't breathe. I called my mom that night. I tried to keep my voice steady, but she heard it anyway. "Mom, did I have a sibling? A twin?" There was silence on the other end, then a sigh so deep it cracked my spine. "We were told you were the only one," she said. "The agency never mentioned." "Lena, I swear to you, we didn't know." But the match didn't lie. I messaged Maya through the platform's chat. Kept it simple. "Hi. I think we're sisters, possibly twins. I'd really love to talk." She replied an hour later. "Hi Lena. This is a lot. I didn't know either. Let's talk." The first time I saw her face, it felt like looking into a mirror that remembered things I didn't. We video chatted for hours. Maya was warm, witty, and sharp, an editorial assistant at a publishing house, with a cat named Poe and a love of lemon tea. We both had a birthmark on our left shoulder. We both hated cilantro. We both bit our nails when anxious and cried at Pixar movies. It was surreal. "I always felt like I was being watched," she admitted, laughing nervously. "Like someone was out there, living my same life." "Isn't that insane?" "No," I said, smiling through tears. "It's exactly how I felt." We met in person 2 weeks later, in a cafe in Manhattan. I recognized her before I saw her, like my body sensed her coming. When she walked in, it was like watching my reflection walk through the door, only in cooler clothes. We hugged for a full minute. No words, just tears. That weekend, we talked nonstop, compared childhood stories, quirks, even health issues. Our similarities were eerie. The way we folded our arms, the way we tilted our heads when curious, even the way we laughed sharp, sudden, like wind chimes crashing. It was magic. For a moment, things started to shift on the second day. We were at her apartment, flipping through old photos. Her adoptive parents had passed away a few years earlier, but she'd kept boxes of their things. One picture caught my eye. Maya as a teenager, standing next to a tall man in a suit. Something about his face twisted something in my gut. "Who's that?" I asked casually. She hesitated. "That's James. He worked with my dad, kind of a family friend." But she said it too fast. Later, I found that photo again, hidden in a different envelope. Only this time, the back was labeled in neat handwriting. "Maya's real father. Do not show her." My heart slammed against my ribs. I didn't say anything. Not then. But something in her stories didn't add up. And when I asked about her adoption, her answers were vague. Private agency. Closed records. My parents didn't talk about it much. Neither did mine. But mine had paperwork. Maya had none. That night, after she fell asleep, I sat in her living room staring at the photo. Was Maya lying? Was she hiding something? And if she was, who was I really meeting? The next morning, Maya brewed coffee like nothing had happened. She smiled, made eggs, asked if I slept well. I played along, still reeling from the photo hidden in her drawer, the one that labeled James not as a family friend, but as her real father. Was it a misunderstanding? A mislabeling? Or was Maya keeping something from me? We walked to a bookstore she loved in the West Village. She chatted about her favorite authors, the best lemon bars nearby, and asked if I wanted to take a DNA test together to make it official. I nodded, forcing a smile, but every word she said rang with suspicion. That night, back at her apartment, I decided to ask, "Hey Maya, can I ask you something?" She glanced up from her phone. Of course. I held up the photo. Her face changed. "Where did you find that?" "In the envelope under your bed," I said softly. "It says he's your real father." She stared at it for a long time. Her hands trembled slightly. "I didn't know that note was in there," she finally said. My adoptive dad told me James was a friend. I never questioned it. I guess they were hiding things from me too. I watched her eyes, searching for truth. "Lena," she said, "I didn't lie to you. I just didn't know." I wanted to believe her. I almost did. But something about the way her eyes dropped to the floor instead of meeting mine, it didn't feel like confusion. It felt like fear. Over the next few days, things grew tense. She was still kind, still welcoming, but there was a new stiffness in her voice. She was distracted. Her phone buzzed constantly, and she'd excuse herself to take calls in another room. When I asked who it was, she said, "Work stuff." One night I picked up her buzzing phone. While she was in the shower, the screen showed a text from a contact named D. Did she find the papers yet? My heart dropped. When she came back, I placed the phone on the table and looked at her. "Who's D?" She froze, then forced a laugh. "Just someone from my publishing team." "Publishing teams don't ask about hidden papers, Maya." She didn't answer. I left the next morning. She hugged me tight, maybe too tight. "Come back soon," she whispered. I nodded. But I didn't say I would. Back home in Chicago, I did some digging. I requested a full adoption report. I called the agency. I pulled my own sealed files in one folder, buried under legal jargon and adoption codes. I found something stunning. Birth certificate. Lena and Maya Blake, born October 14th. Twin girls, separated at birth due to legal complications involving a custody dispute. And no mention of any private agency in Maya's records. No James. No sealed adoption in New York. Maya had never legally been adopted. So who had raised her? And why had she lied? My hands shook as I printed out every document. The truth wasn't just messy, it was dangerous. I wasn't sure if Maya was protecting herself or hiding something far worse. When I was a kid, I used to imagine what my twin might be like, the twin I didn't know I had. In my fantasies, she was adventurous, kind, a little louder than me, but we were the same underneath, two halves of the same heart. Now, sitting at my desk, surrounded by printouts, sealed files, and the truth I wasn't ready to carry, I knew that dream was dead. Maya wasn't just different. She was living a lie, and I didn't know where it ended. I didn't contact her after I returned home. I needed time, clarity, space to think. But the silence between us wasn't just distance, it was a growing chasm filled with doubt. I stared at the birth certificate again. Lena and Maya Blake. Same birth time, same mother, separated at birth. But why would Maya hide that? Why pretend she didn't know anything about it? The answer came 2 days later, in the form of a knock at my door. I wasn't expecting anyone. I'd barely spoken to anyone except my dog, Jasper, since I got back. But when I opened the door, a woman stood there, mid-40s, composed but nervous. "Lena Hartman?" she asked. "Yes." She handed me a business card. "Danielle Reyes, private investigator. I was hired to find you," she said. "By your sister." I didn't invite her in at first. We stood on my porch, the autumn wind snapping at her coat. She explained that Maya had contacted her weeks before we met in New York, hoping to locate her twin. She wanted to make sure it was real. Danielle said that you were real. But then she told me to stop looking. She said she had it under control, under control. Danielle handed me a flash drive. She didn't pay me to dig deeper, but something felt off. I kept looking. What I found, you need to see for yourself. That night, I plugged the drive into my laptop. It contained scanned documents, photos, and a single video file. I opened the video first. It was a grainy recording of Maya younger, maybe 16, speaking to a man in a suit. The same man from the photo. James, she can never know, he said. Not now, Maya nodded. I understand. She's better off where she is. I won't say anything. I promise. The video ended there. I sat frozen, heart pounding. I dug through the documents. There were letters from Maya's adoptive parents, transcripts of therapy sessions, even a juvenile record sealed by court order. The pieces came together slowly, painfully. Maya had known all along. She'd been placed with James illegally. Her adoption had never been finalized. She'd spent years in therapy to suppress the trauma of being taken. And worst of all, she knew about me. She had known for years. The betrayal burned hotter than I expected. I wanted to call her, scream, demand answers. But a voice in me, quieter, wiser, whispered, wait. So I wrote her a letter instead. Not an angry one, a true one. I told her what I found. That I knew. That I wasn't angry, not entirely, but I couldn't build a relationship on lies. And then I asked her the question I was afraid to know the answer to. Who are you really? She responded 3 days later. The letter was short. One paragraph. I'm not who you think I am. But I never wanted to hurt you. I just didn't know how to tell you the truth. Meet me, please. One last time. We agreed to meet in a quiet park near the Hudson River, neutral ground, open air. I arrived early, nerves clattering like loose change in my chest. The trees were bare, their twisted branches reaching into the gray sky like unanswered questions. I chose a bench facing the water and waited. Maya appeared 20 minutes later. She looked tired, not physically, though there were shadows under her eyes, but tired in a soul-deep way, like someone who'd been carrying too many truths for too long. She sat beside me without speaking. We stared at the river, letting the silence stretch like old fabric. I'm sorry, she said finally. I waited. I didn't lie to hurt you. I lied to protect the life I thought I had. And because part of me was afraid that if you knew the truth, you wouldn't want me. I didn't know you existed until a month ago, Maya. I had no expectations, just questions. She pulled a folded paper from her coat and handed it to me. It was another birth certificate. This one listed her name as Maya Jameson, not Blake, born same day, same time, same mother, but no record of a legal adoption. No signature from a court. He took me without permission, she whispered. James, he told my birth mother I'd died. She never stopped looking for me. But by the time anyone realized, it was too late. The damage was done. And I loved him. Even when I learned the truth, I couldn't leave. I looked at her, really looked. The girl who had once been my fantasy twin had been raised inside a lie so deep, it had shaped her into someone else entirely. I wasn't raised in a perfect house either, I said quietly, but I had love and safety. You had secrets. That matters, she nodded. I want to know you, Lena. For real this time. No lies. I want that too, I said. But it's going to take time. We sat together for an hour more. We talked about small things, books, music, the way we both hated mornings. It wasn't enough to erase the hurt, but it was something. A beginning. Before we parted, she said, there's one more thing I need to show you. About our mother. My heart skipped. Tomorrow, she said. Come to the house. I'll tell you everything. I watched her walk away, a small figure swallowed by the city. I didn't know what the next day would bring. But for the first time in weeks, I felt ready. Not for answers, but for truth. The next morning, I stood outside the brownstone Maya had called home her whole life, or at least the life she thought she knew. The building looked old but cared for, its bricks stained with time. I rang the bell and waited. Heart thudding like a slow drum. Maya opened the door and motioned me in without a word. She looked calmer this time, like she had accepted something heavy, and now she was just waiting to let it go. We sat at the dining table where light poured in through sheer curtains. A faded photo album sat between us. This was hers, Maya said. Our mother's. I flipped open the cover. The first image was a black and white photo of a young woman, early 20s. Soft eyes, familiar nose. My heart clenched. She never stopped searching, Maya whispered. After James took me, she spent years hiring investigators, filing reports. She even started a blog under a fake name, sharing poems and letters she wrote to the daughters. She lost daughters? Maya nodded. She knew she had twins, but she never knew where we ended up. The album held pictures of candles lit every birthday, old newspaper clippings about missing children, handwritten notes and prayers. She passed away last year, Maya said, voice cracking. A heart condition. The last entry in her journal was addressed to us, to you and me. She wrote, "Maybe you'll find each other before I'm gone. But even if you don't, I hope you find the truth. The real truth. And I hope it sets you free." Tears welled in my eyes. For the woman who gave us life. For the years we lost. For the love that never gave up. We spent the day reading her letters, sorting through her things. Every box was a piece of the puzzle we had been missing our whole lives. As evening approached, we sat on the rooftop, city lights beginning to flicker on. "You think we can really start over?" Maya asked. "I don't think it'll be perfect," I said. "But we can begin with truth." We clinked mugs of tea together like champagne flutes. It was quiet. Not empty quiet, peaceful. Weeks passed. Then months. We visited our birth mother's hometown together, left flowers at her grave, read her poems aloud under the open sky. Maya started therapy. I began painting again. We weren't just sisters now. We were survivors of a lie, and builders of something new. Not a fantasy. Not a secret. Just two women who found their way back to each other, and a woman who never forgot them.